Hey guys, what is up? It's Duncan, and today I'm going to be doing browser tests of each of the 5 main browsers: Internet Explorer, Opera, Firefox, Safari, and Chrome. I'll be checking the speed, but I'll also be looking at different features as well as memory usage and general usability of the browsers. So let's get this one started. Okay, so today I will be taking a deeper look at each browser to give my opinion on it. I will note that this is certainly far from definitive, as this is less of a test on outright numbers and more of a test on each browser, how it works and how it doesn't. First up, we have Internet Explorer 8. IE8 has a lot of detractors about it, but it also has some good things going for it. Introduced in IE8 was a nice add-on called Accelerators. Accelerators allow you to do different things with highlighted text, such as instantly map it, search it, translate it, and more. In general, these features are very robust and handy in my opinion, and oftentimes I wish I had them in other browsers. IE8 also has a good anti-phishing filter called Smart Screen, which official tests show does a good job at blocking you from potentially harmful sites. Lastly, IE8 did decently well in my memory tests, doing a bit better than Chrome with 3 tabs open. However, there's a lot wrong with IE8. While it is much faster than IE7, it still trails far behind the other 4 browsers here by a decent margin. And it's the only one that actually feels slower, which is a big downside. Another is the security aspect. As it's the number 1 browser, viruses and malicious code is often written for it more often than other browsers. So while it's not a bad browser at all, IE8 still has a ways to go before it can turn the tide of dissenters headed to Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. Next, we have Opera 10. Opera is one of the rarer browsers, but don't let that fool you. It's quite good. For starters, it has some decent speed. It did lag behind the frontrunners, Chrome and Safari, but not by a huge margin, and is probably not going to be something you notice unless you happen to have both browsers up. Opera is an innovative browser, with its speed dial page, which works similarly to the new tab pages in Chrome and Safari. However, it must be said that Opera did come up with the idea first, as well as its Opera Turbo, which supposedly speeds up loading on dial-up connections by 3 to 4 times. The interface has some good things about it, and it certainly looks nothing like the other browsers. However, that isn't necessarily a good thing. Compared to the minimalist interface of Chrome, Opera looks somewhat bloated and complicated. In reality, it's not much bigger, but there are quite a few buttons here and there that can be confusing at first. One of the biggest complaints I have is that it's just simply average. Opera really doesn't stand out in any one great feature like many of the other browsers do. It's definitely not a bad way to go, however, so why not go test it out? Firefox is the only browser that really stands a chance in the short term of dethroning Internet Explorer as the most used browser, and it's easy to see why. The biggest pro for Firefox is certainly its support for a huge variety of add-ons. They range from everything from YouTube video downloaders, to JavaScript blockers, to themes, to much, much more. Add-ons are easy to find at the official Mozilla website, and they are a snap to install and use. Along with the great add-ons, Firefox uses the least RAM out of all 5 browsers, so it seems a good candidate for an older computer as well. All in all, Firefox is certainly a very good overall browser. You don't really have any compromises. However, it is not perfect. Even with the latest 3.5 release, it still gets smoked by both Chrome and Safari in the majority of speed tests, although it does beat Opera 10 by a small margin. However, it's considerably faster than 3.0, and for most people it will be perfectly fast. Firefox also does look very boring without add-ons, and in general, the browser lacks any kind of real flair that most of the others possess. Don't let that put you off, though. Firefox has over double the market share of Opera, Chrome, and Safari combined, and while it's not twice as good, there's certainly a reason for it. Safari 4 is really a browser made by Apple. It's very polished and good looking throughout. Whether it's the menus, history, search, or the new tab page, it looks fantastic throughout. Speaking of that tab page, it really is a great piece of eye candy. It works the same as the page on Chrome and Opera, showing your most viewed site, with an option to delete sites or add whichever ones you like. but it renders each site in great-looking cover flow. It also updates each pane to reflect what the website looks like right then, and it makes the other most viewed sites look positively boring. And it's fast. Very fast. Different tests give the edge to both it and Chrome, but make no mistake, these are the fastest browsers around, and it will be easily apparent as soon as you begin using them. Perhaps because of the cover flow, those great looks could be one of Safari's biggest weaknesses, memory usage. In my, admittedly unscientific, but still reasonably accurate tests, Safari used up twice as much RAM compared to Chrome, and 3 times more than Firefox. If you have a modern computer with gigabytes of RAM, this won't be a problem. You will want to be careful, however, running Safari 4 on an older computer. Between needing quite a bit of RAM, the nice looking cover flow effects won't work on some older computers, so that's something to consider. Altogether though, Safari is one of the best browsers around, and assuming you have a decent computer, you will likely be very pleased with it. Chrome is a very minimalist, very fast browser. The speed is really what strikes you first when using it. JavaScript-heavy pages, such as Gmail, load almost instantly, and other pages open almost as fast as your connection will go. It has some really nice features, such as the Omnibar, where you can not only enter URLs, but also search Google, or, contrary to what some may think, any other search engine as well, without bothering with a separate entry box. It doesn't seem like something useful, but as soon as you start using it, you wonder why you ever used a separate bar for search. The tab handling is also excellent. The slick design allows for tabs to be placed up top, freeing valuable screen real estate. In addition, it's very simple to drag tabs out to make a new window, and it's just as easy to drag a tab back into the main window. On the other hand, if you really value privacy, then Chrome isn't the best choice. By default, it allows all cookies, including advertisement tracking cookies, and allows Google to save the searches you enter into the Omnibar, even if you don't actually search something. However, you can remedy this by limiting the cookies it accepts and shutting off the Google statistics. Compared to Firefox, it's also somewhat sparse when it comes to features. The newest beta release adds support for themes, which is very welcome, but there is still a long ways to go before it comes close to matching Firefox. That aside, don't let that put you off. Chrome is a very nice browser, and I recommend at the least checking it out. Thanks for watching, guys.